Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to City Skylines Parklife. I certainly hope you're having a wonderful day because I'm certainly excited to be back in the beautiful city of Nerdcrest, where things, as always, well, they're going very well indeed. Last time, we went ahead and built the Nerdcrest Harbour, which has developed a little bit. I think it's looking pretty good. Since then, I have made a couple of changes around the area. We've gone ahead and added another road back here with more office buildings with the, the high-tech industry, IT clustered specialization. That's the one. That's the words I'm looking for. I've added another road with that along the back just here, as you can see. I've also added in the boat museum because a lot of you were keen to point out that I moused over it and didn't bother with it. Initially, I was going to try and put something over here, which is why I didn't bother with it, but it actually looks really good in there despite being a little bit too high off of the water. There's not really anything I can do about that other than just raise the water level on the entire map, which, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I want to do, because that would probably cause a few issues with the, the coastline literally everywhere. So we're probably not going to do that. We'll sort of just let this be as it is, I guess. Also, fun fact, one of these boats, a paddle boat, recently sank off the coast of Ireland on the way from somewhere in England. It was bought for like £250,000 and was going to be turned into like a 14, 15 bedroom hotel on the river. It sank. No one was injured. No one was on the boat, but they took it out into the open ocean and it sank. I just thought I thought I'd bring that up. I just remembered that looking at that boat. That was like a couple of weeks ago. That was just an interesting story to read in the news. It's like, oh, a 100-year-old paddle boat has sank off the coast of Ireland. Huh. It was just an interesting little story about paddle boats right there. So today I want to do two things. First and foremost, I want to try and fill up this area in here and this area back here. Obviously, we don't really have the demand to do that yet, so what we'll do is we'll put all the roads in and we'll figure out where everything's going, we'll put in some services, and we'll just sort of let it be. Another thing I want to do is actually deal with the high schools, because we don't have enough of them. Same with the elementary schools, don't have enough of those, and as people have keenly pointed out, education is one of those things in City Skylines that I always just forget about. So we're gonna actually start by fixing that as a general issue. So we'll get an elementary school in there. We'll get an elementary school in there as well. We'll try and get one over here somewhere. I think there should work. We definitely need one over here somewhere, so there should totally work for that. Definitely need one in here. Totally need one down here. And that'll help a little bit. We could use one over here as well because we don't have one yet. So right about there, we'll get one into this space too, I suppose. And hopefully that'll just help a little bit. It hasn't got rid of, it hasn't got us perfect with elementary schools, but we're a lot closer to perfect than we were. I've already gone around and added in a few more high schools. I think we could do with one more of those. So we'll just throw it in there. And that'll bring the high school availability up just that little bit further, which, there we go, or the capacity rather. So that's looking good. That should hopefully solve that problem. Universities are fine. Universities are totally fine. We don't need to worry about those for probably a very long time. And I guess the final thing that I want to do today, I say that like we're at the end of the episode. There you go, guys. 5-minute City Skylines episodes coming at you 6 times a day. Good Lord. Let's not do that. The final thing I want to do at some point today is I actually want to start working on this island over here, because I saw a comment recently. I don't remember what episode it was on, but someone said that I should basically turn one of these islands into like a government island. And I thought that was a really interesting idea because there are a lot of buildings that could work for that. Obviously, we have like the city arch, which would look really good at the entrance to it. We have, well, the malls and all that don't really work. But we have things like the tax office, we have things like the courthouse, and they don't really work together. They're very different styles of buildings, but they are government buildings. You have the oppression office, There is a city hall looking thing somewhere, I think. I might be mistaken, but basically there are buildings that could really work in that particular way to make something actually look like a government island. And I think that's a cool idea. I think that's a really, really cool idea. So that's kind of something I want to try. And also putting the statue of the Colossus just off of the government island could be really, really cool as well. So we'll get to that eventually. We do have a lot of work to do first. So let's start over here in the west side of the harbor. And let's see if we can maybe just fill out this space a little bit. Traffic around here does sometimes get a little bit out of hand. So there's two things I want to do. Number one, I want to try and not put too much traffic on this section of road. So I'm going to bring a road off of here because I think we can get away with this. And we're probably going to run it through. I don't know if I want to connect it there, though, because this road needs a good... The traffic needs to flow really well on that, so that's maybe not the best idea. Let's go to there for the time being. And I think what we'll do is we're going to have to connect to here. I don't want to create any intersections in that entire stretch of road because there's so much traffic coming out of this harbor that more intersections on intersections on intersections is going to be a very bad thing. That is just going to be a tremendously, tremendously bad thing for the area. So we're going to try and avoid doing that completely. I'm going to bring this road over to there because I realize that what we've been doing is going ahead and putting in a little bit of a path just here that I think will look really good if we sort of continue it through there. And we could probably just do the same up to there and to there as well, I guess. It just kind of works, you know? Continue the trend of having the path cut through everything. And then this whole area is straight up just going to be industry. That's pretty much all that's going to go in there. I do realize, though, that this is going to be a bit messy. And it's not going to be amazing for traffic in this area, but it'll have to do, I guess. That's kind of all I can say to it. It's gonna have to do. It's not gonna be perfect, but it'll hopefully do the job. So we'll build out to there, and then this road up here, I'm honestly looking at and thinking that maybe it would be an idea to, well, maybe it would be an idea to move that entire bit of road. Like if we got rid of all of you and literally shift it one that way, I think that's gonna line up a lot better. I think that'll line up a lot better, and I can actually do an interesting thing with this. So you go to there, and you're going to go right to the end there. That still connects, and I get... No, that doesn't connect. Never mind. That's totally my bad. This one connects. This one doesn't. It goes to there. No, not like that. It goes to there. This one can actually go exactly where it was before. And then what we've got is room for another little stretch of path through here, so it sort of follows that same pattern and that same idea with the path down here, dividing the offices and the industry. So I think that's perfect. I think that's absolutely perfect. That'll do exactly what I want it to do. And then obviously all of this is just gonna straight up be industry. So that's nice. That absolutely works. All we need to do is get a little bit of road over here. And it would be nice if I could fix the zoning on that road, but I don't see that happening. So let's make sure you all have water. You don't. So that's going to run across here. And then we're just going to zone it. And it's going to take a long time to build because that's just how it works. So you're going to go, I guess, up to there. And I guess what we could do is bring this path down here and down there as well. And you know what? We'll just continue it straight down to that point as well. I know it doesn't line up as perfectly on this side, but I think it works as it's a nice divide. I think it's a really nice divide between, like I said, the industry and the offices. So that'll work out. That'll fill up that space eventually. For this area over here, I'm not really sure what we're going to do with it yet. Because obviously there's a bit of a weird shape. We have that curve there. So I guess what we can do is find out, can we get a road in there that's not going to overlap zoning? No, we can't. Well, that's fine. That's totally fine. We can make that work. Let's go to there. We'll bring a road across like this. So that should work. Down to, well, not down to there. I guess bring this one up. All right, so that should work. I think I'll bring a path straight through here. And just the whole way across. Because I can. There's not really any other reason for it. It is just because I can. Bring a path down through there. Bring a path down through there. And we'll bring one down through here as well. And actually connect it straight up to that one as well, because that'll be a really, really good place to have one of those. So that'll connect the whole way through there, meaning I think this road can go all the way along and possibly to just there. Because again, I think we get a good opportunity to just bring like paths straight through all of this. And that's something I'm actually really wanting to do with the entire city at this point, because I've done it in a few spots. If you remember back, cast your mind into the past, you'll remember there were a lot of not interesting, but weird spots in the city where we had like a one unit gap between buildings. So I ended up running paths just between all the buildings, and I think it works really well. There's a lot of them around the city that you don't really see because they're just paved over. But they do get used, and people use them a lot. I recently, I think, did one down here somewhere. Yeah, right here. So again, these paths are actually getting used. So I think the more we can get people walking around the city, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, is this being used all right now? Not really. This bit is. There's someone there. There's a couple people there. These ones over here, I mean, to be honest, they'll probably not really be used in an industrial area, but I can dream, all right? I can dream, it's fine. But that road as well, I realize, is going to be a little, probably excessively long to not have more connections to it. So what if we bring a road off of here? What if we bring a road out of there, and it can actually go at a straight angle into that, and then that whole bit in the middle could be a park? I think that'd be interesting, especially just off of the Harbour area. So if we dezone all of this, we can put some kind of park in there and just make it a nice bit of green space, I think. So I think up here as well, this is all going to be, I think that's just all going to be offices, because of course it is. And then this road down here is going to come straight across to there. This one is going to go down like this. That doesn't line up. That's interesting. That's actually kind of surprising that doesn't line up properly. Wow, okay. I've got some kind of weird angle going on there. That's really strange. I didn't realize that. Okay, that's a bit weird. We'll not stress too much about it. I don't think it's a huge deal. Although I'd kind of like it to be in line. I'm realizing down here isn't either. Yeah, that'll do. That'll work. I realize I just said it's not a huge deal, and then I painstakingly made it into a huge deal. This can run straight across to that road. This can run straight. Oh, we have a little gap there. This can run straight to, you know what? That can go to there, and then can I get a little road off of here? I totally can. All right, there we go. I think that's a bit of an interesting road layout. It's sort of self-contained. It has a couple of connections to it. And I think with the right type of zoning, it's not going to be super unnecessarily busy. So that's going to be pretty much exclusively office zoning, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think I want to overuse the office zoning, so we'll have to figure that one out. I think we'll also just do our regular path down through there. And I think what we'll also do is bring it through here. So there we go. That ought to do it. That ought to work. Hopefully people will use that. They could probably use this bit as well. That's not the type of path I wanted, though. Let's just clear you out and put you in there. And I guess we'll run that straight through, just so people can use it. And that looks all right to me. I think that'll fill up really nicely. I do think that'll fill up really, really nicely. So let's just get the zoning in initially. So that's just going to be offices. We should probably do some shops in there. So I think just a little strip like that. And maybe down here as well. And I realize some of these are going to be super high-rise buildings and some of them aren't. But I think that's all right. It'll add a little bit of variety to the area and make it just seem a little more, I guess, natural in a way. The buildings closer to the water are going to be the ones that are super tall and the ones further away aren't. We'll see. It might work, it might not. My plan might completely backfire. Let's do some more shops there and not there. We'll actually just keep those as offices. So there we go. A few more shops in there. I think it'll be a nice area. It'll have a nice little bit of variety in terms of the zoning. Obviously gonna need to put the pipes in so that no one starts complaining about the lack of water. I can't bathe my children. That's basically what it is. I've made that joke before, by the way. Possibly in this very series. I don't remember. If you watch my channel long enough, you'll come to realize that I don't come up with new jokes. I just leave old jokes sort of on the back burner for a season or two, and then we come back to it and revisit it, and it's just as unfunny the second time. That's true. That's true, by the way. I don't intentionally leave them on the back burner, but I realize that I do frequently repeat the same jokes over and over again. But I mean, it's City Skylines, man. There's only really so much you can do before you kind of... There's only so many City Skylines related jokes is the point I'm trying to make here. All right? And like any good joke, it's hilarious when it's painfully and slowly explained. There you go. You're welcome for that. Let's put the main entrance for this park right there, I think. And we'll do side entrances in just a little bit. Let's get the zoning in first. Well, we kind of have to do the zoning first. So it is just going to go around here. It is just going to be that sort of weird shape that we have here. That's going to be the entire park. This can go to there and... Oh, hold on a minute. Bring this down, bring this up to there. Let's actually try and get this to work this time because it's behaving in a weird way. There we go. So that's going to be Chester Gardens. We can get an entrance to Chester Gardens, I think, right there. And I think another entrance would be good right there. And possibly up there as well. Now the paths around this are going to be weird. They are going to be very, very weird, but we're going to have to make this work. So let's just see what we can do. If we turn on guidelines, can I get this to curve at all? Sort of, no. Let's just abandon that idea. We'll bring these out that way. We'll turn off the guidelines. And this is going to look really nasty, this park. It is not going to be pleasant looking at all. Which is going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky for me to be at all happy with how this thing turns out, isn't it? It's going to be one of those parks. Like, good lord, it's already hideous. Oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing. What is that? What is that? What was that mess? Can we maybe get this to work? So if that goes there and curves that, that's better. Ish. Oh, this is terrible. Right. So what if this goes to there? Question mark? To turn off the guidelines and maybe go like that. Can I get a nice curve on that? Like, is that gonna be... That's a little better looking. That's a little better looking. The whole thing is still pretty hideous, but I think what I can do is use a little bit of Move It magic to try and make it look a little better. So I think if we lower that bit of road down a bit, so it's sort of level with the road here, so it's level with Oak Street. We lower this down so it's sort of creating more of a slope. That's better. We lower this down so it's sort of attempting to create some kind of slope as well. Trying maybe... You know what? That node needs to be completely level with somewhere in the street, right there. And I think this one needs to be level with the street as well. Now this one needs to be a bit lower to create a more gentle slope. There we go. And then this one needs to be higher because that's a wall. That is a wall that needs to be climbed there. So there we go. That is by no means perfect, is what I'm gonna say. What I'm gonna say to that. But I think it works. And then I think this one needs to be raised up to try and make that a little more gentle. And I mean, I don't think we're gonna be able to make the park look any better than that. I feel like the park is as good as it's gonna get there. So I'm just gonna put the walls in and we're going to consider it done. Okay, that should do the job. I think it looks all right. It's far from perfect, but it's got a cafe in it, which I realize is currently sort of really, well, it's quite high. It's elevated, you could say. This one over here is a bathroom, and we got a gazebo up here in a hill that I think looks really cool, actually. It's not got much of a view. Like, you could sort of see out to the sea, but I think it looks neat. I do think it looks neat. We got a gazebo up here as well. Also does not have a view. But if you want to have, you know, if you want to sit in a gazebo for your lunch, then feel free. Also worth pointing out, this thing's actually really popular. A lot of people come in through this harbor right here, and a lot of people go out through that harbor as well. I didn't really expect it to be popular, but there you go. It absolutely is. This road here is also quite popular. Traffic's regularly backing up to turn left on it. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of okay with that because they're not backing up on the highways. Like, they're not backing up to, well, they're backing up on this one, but other than that one, they're not really backing up on the highways. So that's good. That's always nice that they're not doing that. I do want to take a quick look at high schools again. I think I realize we have a lot more people eligible for high schools. So we'll get another one in there. And I think we could maybe throw another one down here somewhere. Possibly over this way. So a little high school in there. Just to bring that capacity up a little bit. For elementary schools, I think we do need more of those as well. So we'll throw an elementary school. Can't really throw one back there. We could put one in here. So we'll get one in there. We'll try and get one over here as well. I'm going to try and keep them off that main road. Try and get one in here. And I think one more. Just there. So there we go. Capacity's good. We'll hopefully get everybody educated nice and quickly. And hopefully that'll stop the IT cluster buildings from complaining about not enough people for their goods. I'm going to be honest. I'm not really sure who actually buys the stuff from the IT clusters. I would assume it's people that are educated. That would sort of be the way I would expect the game to be like, you know, these are who buy it, these are who don't. I really have no idea. I will say, I'm so pleased with how this area looks. Like, I really like how that looks from here. It looks like a proper city to me. If anything, I think this, although it's simple, and I want to stress that because I mentioned it last time as well. Although it's very simple, I think this is like one of the better looking cities I've built in a while. Just in this area, right? Just from this angle. Because it looks like a city to me. But that might just be me. Also, is that bit of key is too low there. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And I mean, like I said, it's just from that angle, because if you turn this way, you sort of, it kind of breaks the illusion of it actually being a city. So, yeah, it is literally just from that angle. Speaking of breaking things, I want to tear all of these down. I'm pretty sure I said early on I wanted this to be like a green city at some point. It might be obvious, but that plan is on hold for the time being, until we can actually start expanding out a little bit further and get some other areas. Also, I guess before we move on to the next thing in the video, I did mention a couple of episodes ago we would be getting around to doing airports at some point. We're still going to do that. We're still going to get an airport, and I'm still looking at this area down here for my airport, because I think having the runways like there-ish would be really, really cool. I'd probably expand the land a little bit as well and try and just change it and maybe get some keys in there, but I think that's going to be where the runways are. We might have to move that bridge, potentially. It might be a little bit too low. Or too close, rather. The planes might have to come in a bit too low, but that's pretty much where the airport's going as far as I'm concerned. And I think that'll be really cool. I think that'll look really, really good. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that at some point when we happen to get to it. But for the time being, let's move on and actually get started on the government island that we talked about, because I genuinely think it's a really cool idea. So it is going to come off of here. The bridge is to get to said island. They're going to come off of the backbone, which I kind of feel is appropriate, to be honest. I feel like having these bridges come off of the backbone is totally appropriate. It's also going to look quite dumb because of how high up I have to raise them to get this to work properly, but that's not a big deal. As dumb as that looks, believe it or not, that is not a big deal. Because what we can do is we can use Move It, obviously, to level it all out. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll switch over to Move It. We'll make sure we're only selecting the... Oh, I don't remember how to do that bit. Hold on, I need to change the marquee tool. We only want the nodes, so we select all of those and lock into that height. And the bridge still looks kind of dumb. It's a little bit too tall with no real decoration to it. But it works. It will totally work. And this one here actually needs to be flipped around anyway, so... There we go. We'll flip that around. That's going to let traffic get to and from the government island. We could probably work on lowering the height of these bridges. So, I mean, that's going to be floor level. Let's maybe say we go down a step and down another step, or maybe that doesn't seem like enough of a descent there. It also seems like we're going too far, like, onto the island, I think. So, we'll bring this back. We will lower this a little bit further. So, I think like that's gonna have to do. That just seems like a weird slope. I feel like the bridge is just too high. Or the island could afford, you know, to be taller. But I don't know. I need to come up with a good way to do this. So that's level. That's 12, and that's the floor. Okay, that looks terrible, but we'll allow it for the time being, because what I'm thinking we do is we adjust these nodes here to, number 1, be the same height. And then we raise them up. And I guess that looks okay. It's not perfect, but I think it's better than having the bridges go a fair bit further onto the island, so we can allow that for the time being. That will have to do. Now what I'm thinking we're also going to do is we are going to stick with the whole backbone thing. That is 100% going to be a thing. But I also like the idea of having a little roundabout here. which I know we haven't had any roundabouts in this city thus far. It is time. It 100% is time. So we're going to go 5 in every direction. We're going to work out what this is. So that's 240. So that's 240. That's 240. Then we go 5 there. And we want to go 5 like that. And obviously, it's a little bit more square than your typical roundabout. But that's okay. Because that's going to have some decorative stuff in it. That's sort of going to be like the heart of the whole thing, right? That's where all the traffic comes in. So this road's going to lead up to about there. This one's going to come all the way back down. And it's going to go like that. And then I guess we want to go maybe, I don't know, 15 in that direction. We'll go 15 in that direction. What way do we... Hold on a minute. Am I doing this the right way? So you come in, you go that way. You probably go left. So I guess the one-way road should be going in the other direction. Yeah, I guess that's how we're gonna... This needs to be two-way in here. That's what that needs to be. So you can U-turn and you can sort of go around the whole one-way system. All right. So 20 to there. And like that. So that's going to be the main square for the government buildings. And then the statue of the Colossus is pretty much going to go down here somewhere. So we'll figure out where that's going shortly, because before we get to any of that, the first thing I want to do is select all of the traffic nodes. So every single traffic node, we're going to deselect some of the bridge ones because we don't want to change the height of those. And I'm going to just set them all to the same level, which is going to be there. So they are all going to be completely level, and I'm pretty much going to actually flatten the upper part of this island. So that height right there, everything is going to sort of be brought to that same height. And then we're going to put keys around a lot of the island as well. So the idea is they've carefully constructed this beautiful... I don't want to say they've constructed the island. The island's natural, but they've like dredged up the seabed and moved some of the dirt onto the island to sort of help flatten it out or something. So that the government island is quite luxurious in a way. That's my thinking here. Government island is going to have a good degree of luxury to it. So let's just smooth out some of the edges a little bit. Just to make it look a little bit better, because it's a little much, I think, having some very sharp edges like that. So smooth all of that out. The keys are probably going to have to... I guess the keys are going to be the next step, aren't they? They're going to have to be. So yeah, that's all flat. Let's take the trees off of it. Let's surround the island in keys and then figure out where, I guess, all of the details are actually going to be going. Okay, so we have the layout of the government island, and it's honestly a bit more man-made than I expected it was going to be. I may have went overboard a little bit on the keys and all that. It's not perfectly symmetrical, I do want to say. It is, you know, this curve's a little bit different to that one. But it is definitely noticeably man-made. And I don't think there's any getting away from that. But that's fine. I'm not going to stress too much about it. I think it looks all right. The statue of... what was it? The Colossus? I mean, it's going to increase the tourists' stay in my city by a considerable amount. But can I get it central, I guess, is going to be the question. I don't know if we can. For the time being, let's just bring this down here. Let's just get you all set up. I mean, if I can get it central, if I can actually get it to look the part, then great. Like, what is it, 160,000? Boom. It looks a little strange, is all I'm going to say, but it does look kind of central as well. So I think, I mean, I guess we allow it. I guess it can stay. And I guess, does it have a road connection? It does. It doesn't have water. Of course it doesn't have water. Let's just get grid snapping back on and bring a pipe straight up through here and around this entire square. And actually looking at this square, I'm very tempted to have that actually be a park and then have the government buildings on the other side of it. So you sort of have this like it's an interesting thought of having like basically like almost like a parade ground in front of the government buildings. It's a little, I don't know if that's actually a thing I want, now that I think about it. I don't know if that's actually a thing I want to do. We shall see. We shall see what we do with that. This thing doesn't actually have power currently, which is not great. But there's the statue of the Colossus, at least. It looks kind of neat. Let's see here. So what other buildings do we have? Obviously the Cathedral of Plentitude, my least favorite building in City Skylines, if I'm completely honest. We have the Ziggurat Garden, which will actually go nice and central there, but it's not a government building. We have the Oppression Office itself, which, of course, won't go central. We actually have the Sea Fortress, which is neat, but I think it's a little much for the area. Anything else that's going to work? We have the Courthouse. Will it go central? No. No, it won't. Excellent. That is just excellent. I love this. I love that the building won't go central. That's just got me so happy. The little tax office will go central, at least. That's something. What else we got here? The Disaster Memorial, Climate Research Station, the Clock Tower wouldn't go central either. That's fine. We have this. We have got this. It just won't actually go anywhere because, again, it's not big enough, basically. That's a shame. That could look really nice in there, but I'd have to move the roads closer together or turn them into an avenue, which, to be honest, we probably could do. Let's see if that's a thing we can actually get away with here, because technically, I want to be able to connect to there. I just don't know if that's going to be likely. What if we did... Let's see here. Turn off road guidelines. Let's go to there. Let's go to there. And we basically want to do something like that and that. Now, that's obviously far from perfect, but I think we can make this work. I do think we could make this work. So that would go that way. This one goes to there. You go to there. Okay, so that seems all right to me. This would go to there. This would go to there. Yeah, that's totally fine by me, actually. That is totally fine, because then what we can do is actually put in the little archway just before you get to the government buildings. Or even move it right down the road, so it's just as you get onto that road, you have the little archway. I like that. I actually really like that. The only thing I want to do is take the trees off of the roundabout. So take those out of there completely. And then this can be like a little decorative bit, and we'll have trees sort of going up the middle of that road. I think that looks all right, though. I think the only thing we need to do is make sure you can't U-turn here. So you are going there only. You are going there only. And then you are going to there, and you are going to there. I think that looks all right, though. I do think that looks all right. Now let's see. Do we need to be able to U-turn here now that I think about it? We need to be able to go straight across. But I don't think we need to U-turn. I don't think U-turning is going to be needed there. So you are going to be left turn only, and you are going to be straight on only. And I think what we could also do is say the whole way down here, this is going to be, you know, no merging, none of that stuff. And then at this point, this is going to be to that lane, this is going to be to that lane, and you are going to be left turns only, you are going to be straight on only. I just want to make sure the traffic actually sort of flows in a way that kind of makes sense so that they all actually use the lanes they're supposed to be using. So you're to there, you are to there, you are straight on, you're going to be straight on, you are going to be exclusively going to the left, and you are going straight on as well. And I realize the roundabout might end up being a bit of a nightmare to use, but we'll see. We'll totally see what happens with it. I'm really excited to see this area come together, though. My only concern is that the buildings don't really go central. But I guess, I mean, we have what's this? The traffic park? No. Locomotive halls? No. The Chirp X launch site? I mean, we have that. That would actually fit there, but I don't want the Chirp X launch site here. We have the media broadcast building. It actually doesn't look bad. But I don't want it here either. I'm gonna need to do some thinking. Okay, so this is by no means finished, and it is a pretty serious departure from what I had planned on doing with this area, but the government island is sort of taking shape. I've decided that the Modern Institute of Technology, or well, Modern Technology Institute, is actually kind of perfect for a government building. For two reasons. Number one, it kind of has that look of like a government building that's new, like it was kind of built within the last 10 years, and they're like, it's time to depart from the old kind of almost Gothic style of government buildings, and instead we're going for something very, very modern, almost university-like. Hence this being a modern university building within city skylines. For the purposes of this, we'll consider it government buildings. I also decided to use the Community School and Institute of Creative Arts for some side buildings. So every government building, well, government building in this area is actually a school, which is good because it means we are never going to need more high schools. We'll probably need more high schools eventually. We're not going to need more universities, and elementary schools are actually looking all right as well. Now, what I am tempted to do is go ahead and actually get some of those more classic buildings in here, because I spent a very long time just looking around here, all these different buildings, and trying to figure out what we could do. You know, would this be useful? Would that be useful? Would a building like this be useful? Or, you know, this thing, the Grand Library. I was very tempted to make this our primary building out of all of this, because it does have that look, again, of like a more modern government building, and I really like that. It just, unfortunately, it didn't work. That was the thing. There was no building we could get right against the side of it that would look right. It just sort of sat there in this big concrete square. It didn't look right. These are perfect, though, because they go right beside each other. It kind of has that, like, that modern look. You know, you get your solar panels there and then some light going in through there, perhaps, or whatever, really. I think that just looks absolutely perfect. You know, you'd have your main government building here, some offices to one side, offices to the other, and whatever. You know, you'd have, like, say, this is like where if it's the UK, it's like Prime Minister or President. You have your Deputy Prime Minister or Vice President, and then like your Chancellor or your, you know, whatever. Your third in command in this building. And then all the other buildings are smaller offices here and there. I'll admit, though, I'm kind of tempted to take this out because it does have the words community school on it. And I believe it also has a playground in the grounds there. So you know what? We're actually going to take the community school out completely because it does have that playground in there. And this doesn't actually have any signs on it, which is really good news. So this actually works perfectly within the way I'm using it, I guess. Can I move it along one further there? Yeah, I think having it there is a pretty good idea. So we'll move this one up a little bit as well to about there. Maybe one step further. Just so the concrete on both of them actually connects up like that. It just makes it look a little bit more like, you know, one facility. We could move it up a little bit further again, which I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think it does help sell the idea that the buildings are, again, sort of one complex. This one's a bit weird, though, because it's got the parking lots. So maybe not. Maybe we don't do that. I think we'll just keep them where I had them. You know, a little bit connected, but not completely. And obviously, I'm going to need to get more stuff in there. Obviously, this whole thing is going to need a bit more work. But there are people coming over. There are people actually going to the island, which is really neat. We are going to need to get buses coming out here. We are going to need to get some trees out here. And the whole island just needs detailed that bit more. But I'm happy with it. I am kind of happy with it. So what I think we'll do is we'll go ahead and look at buses before we wrap things up for the day. And I would like to... Oh, we can get a bus stop right at the front of the building. That is perfect. That is totally perfect. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, actually. We're not going to put the bus stop there just yet because I think it might be a good idea to get a central bus station somewhere. Now, this road here is super busy, but it probably wouldn't be the worst place in the world to get a central bus station. Although up here would probably make more sense since, you know, it's right next to the tourism area. So let's do our central bus station up here. I'm thinking right there. Unfortunately, it does have a bit of a gap behind it. So I think I'm gonna... No, I think I'll leave it on that road. That's fine. We'll leave it on that road. And then we'll bulldoze you. And I'm just gonna bring those paths sort of around this thing a little bit. Just to stop anything from building and to make it look like a relatively well-paved area. So what we can do is we can move this stop into the station, which annoyingly on the first couple seems to want to loop around a bit. So we'll have it go there, I guess. I mean, yeah, I guess that sort of works. So it can go there. And that's going to loop around kind of nicely. Now, it does loop around in a lot of weird ways as well. Like, it loops around in some really, really weird ways. And I do not understand why. Let's maybe get rid of that line. Because it's just being weird. It loops around in a lot of really, really weird ways. So we have one line that loops around this area in a strange way. What if we move that stop down to there? That kind of... Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense down there, doesn't it? So that'll be fine. We could maybe bring this one over as well. So it sort of goes back and forth across the bridges. And then what we'll do is we'll have another line that is going to go, I guess, from the central bus station to wherever else it needs to go. Now this one can go out and down this road a little bit. I don't know why, again, I don't know why it's just behaving in such a strange way there. That's really, really odd. The way those bus lines want to work, but we'll go like that. We'll bring it out and sort of around that district. Actually, this one can go, I think, out to here. And again, it wants to go in that weird loop. I think it's because I keep trying to put it on the wrong side of the road, but that one wants to go strange. That one, I guess, has to go that way. Why can't this just go out and go left? That's what I don't understand. Why it can't just go out and go left in the way I want it to. It can't go across there. I guess that makes sense because that's not a two-way section of road. That's okay. So that can go out to there. It can go to there and then it can come back. And it's going to go to that spot. It could totally go down the highway and into this neighborhood. I don't think we're going to do that. I think that's a little bit too far. We can bring it into here. We'll bring it down to here, if it'll let me. And I want to try and have it just have a stop in some of these areas so that people can get onto that line if they want to. Although that's not going to do me any favors, so I guess what we do... is we have it stop here somewhere. And then continue straight across a bit, although it doesn't really want to. Again, doesn't really want to. Why would it do that? Why on earth would it do any of that? It's just behaving in a really, really strange way. I don't understand it at all, but... Yeah, like this as well is not gonna let me go straight across. I feel like some of my line setups might be a bit strange. I feel like they might be a little bit broken. Let's bring this out onto... We'll bring it out onto the main road. That main road isn't too busy. I can't turn right there at all. Like, it just will not let me. So I guess we bring this bus line over into this neighborhood a little bit. And then can we bring it back up and through here? We absolutely can. It's a very, very long bus line. It doesn't really go anywhere. Like, it just goes around things right now, but that's gonna have to be okay. And annoyingly, that's the way the stop's gonna have to work as well. Can we just do that so the stop behaves a little better? Or even move the stop right to the end? Oh, that's a dead-end road. Can we fix that? Yeah, there we go. All right, so that's a ridiculously long line, but we'll see if people end up using it. It might be an idea to add a stop to this. Although I don't think that's the place to add the stop. What if we added it from there? Would that do us any favors? Not really. But I think I'm going to do it anyway. Why does it go out there? That's... I guess they technically can't U-turn there, can they? And I guess the buses don't want to merge across lanes? Why don't they want to merge across lanes? What's going on with that? I think a lot of my lane management is just completely messed up. It definitely seems that way. Yeah, so that can go right now. It just needs to update the line. And then it comes all the way down there, but it can't go left at all. Let's see, so you guys can only go there. You guys can go like that. You can only go left. And I guess I maybe need to set up manual lane stuff here. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why my lanes are behaving in such weird ways. But they are definitely being a bit weird. So we'll set all this up and see what happens with it. Maybe my buses can go on a bit of a better route. That one just decided to U-turn, which is odd. So let's see here. That bus line is still going the whole way around. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess that'll sort of work. And is anyone actually waiting? There's a lot of people waiting on that blue line, which is good. So they can move around as much as they need to. Down here, we have a fair few people waiting for a bus there. And up here, we have a couple of people waiting. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to leave it there for today. I want to figure out what kind of detailing we do with the government island. I think it's looking all right. I definitely think it's looking all right. It's definitely a bit more man-made than I planned on it looking, but I kind of like it. I kind of think it's neat, and I think it's a really good idea. So whoever it was that said turn one of the islands into a government island, props to you, because this is all on you. I don't think it necessarily looks as good as the Harbour yet. I think we do need to get some tall buildings in there, and to be honest, I might get some buildings off of the Steam Workshop to try and make that look a bit better, because I like it, but I don't think it's there yet. Or I'm going to have to get the mod that lets me unlock all of the European-style buildings, because that's another thing that we could do, because there are some buildings, there are some European-style buildings that would work very well for all of that. So that could be another route to take. We shall see. But I think this right here is going to help the traffic move, and I think that right there is, number one, going to solve our government island thing that I wanted to do. And number two is going to solve any issues we might have had with education at any point. So I think we're all right. I think we're going to be doing all right. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you kindly for watching. It's been my pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.